Hello friends, this is going to be a quick and dirty video on the performance of the Radeon 7750 in GTA 5. Now of course the Radeon 7750 is a 3-year-old video card, most of you already know that. However, I was interested to see in how well it will do with more current games, as I've not really tested many current games with this video card. Now this Radeon 7750, it is paired with a Sandy Bridge i3, specifically a 2120 running at 3.3 or 3.2 gigahertz, I can't remember which one exactly. As you can see here, this is an offline render. I'm just recording with a cell phone, that way I don't have to do a direct recording on the system using the CPU, which of course would take very precious CPU cycles, and I'm sorry I do not own something like an Elgato HD60 to get a direct recording. I need to just go out and buy one, but I'm just a little too cheap for that right now. The game is running at 1920 by 1080p, which is not actually surprising at all for this Radeon 7750, as it sits at about 2/3 the power of an Xbox One and about half the power of a PS4. However, the big caveat here is because we only have a gigabyte of video memory, textures have been limited to just normal settings. Most other settings are running at high, shadows are set at soft, post-processing is at normal, so there is no motion blur or anything like that is present in the game. Also, advanced graphics settings have all been left at their most minimal because, as far as I know, the consoles don't use any of those kind of settings that are available in the PC version, and of course that would just bog down this video card even more. Luckily, at the video settings that have been chosen, this game does run at 30 FPS at least most of the time, and is quite nice. I was actually not expecting such good performance out of this video card. And I sincerely believe that this game would run just fine at 1080p with high texture settings. The problem is, of course, once again, we are limited to just a gigabyte of video memory. When I did test the game out with high textures, the game ran just fine for the most part, except for some massive stuttering at certain points because of the textures having to be loaded in from system memory into video memory. And that was just unacceptable for smooth gameplay and smooth performance. So what we have here is a very reasonable facsimile of what we see on the Xbox One and the PS4. We're just losing out on some other things like motion blur, high textures of course, as well as high-end tessellation and screen space ambient occlusion. One major benefit I do believe we are getting from the setup is the CPU. This Sandy Bridge i3-2120 in many ways is the equal of the 8-core Jaguar processor that is used in the Xbox One and the PS4. However, this sequence in itself is not really the best way to test the CPU in this game. It would be better during a free roam segment to better test the CPU, but that will be shown to you in a little bit. Of course, our main focus for this video is to show off how well the Radeon 7750 does, not the i3. Now for game system specs. Everything is mostly high specs, population variety density and distance scaling are at their maximums, anisotropic filtering is at 16 times, ambient occlusion is at normal, tessellation is at high as well. Because post effects is set at high, in-game depth of field effects are disabled, and motion blur I have disabled all the way down because it can be a real bandwidth killer. Like mentioned earlier as well, advanced graphics settings I have left at their bare minimal. Those settings are really reserved for high-end computers that have a huge amount of video memory as well as the graphics horsepower to really run it. But here we get to see how really well the combination of the Radeon 7750 and i3 do in a true free roam sequence. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you happen to be one of those people who stuck with a Radeon 7750 or a graphics card of similar power, and have possibly held off on buying this game because he felt like he just didn't have the system to play it, by all means, go out and get the game and enjoy it. You can. And it looks rather good at that fact, as long as you just don't overburden your video card when it comes to the graphics settings. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was pretty informative, pretty insightful. I plan on doing some more quick and dirty tests with some other newer titles like The Witcher 3 and Titanfall, as well as Battlefield 4 and Shadows of Mordor. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and I hope you guys have a good one. I will see you next time.